Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
We're reviewing the TOPDON PulseQ EV Charger next on Now Let's Review. So there are a lot of EV chargers out there, which is great news, but it can be a little overwhelming to decide which one you want. And at this price point, there are quite a few. So let's jump right in. This is the TOPDON. And well, I want to go cut to footage that you made outside showing why this might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, so as you can see there, having such a short cable, this is going not to your car, thankfully. This is going to your house. You're going to need the NEMA 1450 plug, and you're basically going to have to make sure that that NEMA 1450 plug is installed in what I would consider to be kind of an upside down configuration. If I think to plug into the wall like this, well, you can just barely do it. It's putting a lot of strain on the cable, which I don't think is a good thing.
I'm really surprised that they did such a short cable, because even a few more inches would have helped.
A few more inches would have been more expensive. So it is a trade-off here. And so basically, most likely you're gonna want somewhere below to be where the plug is, and it's gonna need to be upside down. I don't know if it's technically upside down, but it looks upside down to me.
Right. The other thing about this charger, and of all chargers that you have to take into consideration, is the length of the cable. This one is 16 feet long. Most vehicles are about 18 feet long. And I don't know, sometimes that's perfect. If in your garage 16 feet is all you need, then great. But sometimes I park and I'm like, oh, it's just a foot too short, and I have to go out and do it again. So for me, like a perfect length is more like 21 or 22 feet.
It's a trade-off because the longer the cable, the heavier it is to heft around, the more chance there is to run it over or to step on it or to break it. This is a pretty durable cable. As you can see here, it's not too flexible, but that just is because it has a lot of heft to it, right, and probably won't break. Looking at the business end of it, it's very, 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 very standard. I've seen so many of this style level 2 chargers, plastic trigger and thing, so it could get broken off on a cold day if you dropped it upside down. I've seen these snap off before. I don't think it's terribly likely if you're a careful person.
Has a nice feature where it comes with this receptor for the adapter, and so you can mount this on your wall, and then it's a great way to store it like that.
And this comes with a little hook, so you could wrap the cable around this. It says TOPDON on it. Maybe you could scratch that off if you don't like seeing that.
You got a problem with TOPDON.
TOPDON!
And what I like is that it comes with these templates so that when you're going for the install, that makes it really easy. They're sticky, so you can stick it on the wall, drill your holes, and it makes everything go, I'd say, like 5 or 10 minutes faster.
I think so too. It's not that hard to remove this from its mounting bracket. So the mounting bracket here has these two knurled thumb screws.
This is so reminiscent of the max beating rods. It looks almost identical.
Yeah, the shape and the mounting system. So, I mean, do you need this thing? Because this honestly is so light and easy to hold, and you can get a pencil in there. They have bigger holes for where the screwdriver is going to be, and smaller holes for where the head of the screws are going to be.
It comes with a lot of mounting hardware, which is great.
So yeah, they give you 4 big, nice bolts with anchors and stuff to mount here. Now, I'm not a big fan of anchors. I like going into wood.
Right. But you're not going to be able to, most likely, with this.
Yeah, so, and you're probably going to need to place this on the wall with care, because again, you're going to need to hit right above that outlet. So that's going to be probably the most difficult part in placing this, is just where is that outlet going to be? And that's where the mounting is going to be so important. Now, one thing that I would like to point out, and I know that for a lot of people this doesn't really matter, but EV chargers, this one is over $300, and if you're in a place where somebody might steal it, if it's not locked away in your garage, there's a possibility that this is actually pretty easy to take up off the wall and walk away with. You'd simply unplug it, take these easy to unscrew. Anyone with opposable thumbs can basically steal your charger. Now, you could replace these screws with something that's a little bit more tamper-proof. Anything from security Torx to the stuff that they use on like bathroom fixtures to keep people from taking those apart. Lots of different stuff that maybe you could keep it maybe tamper resistant.
I have to say, 90% of the installs are going to take place inside a garage. because you're gonna already have the outlet there. I do want to point out when you are installing this, by the way, because as Jesse said, if you're in the US or Canada, you're probably gonna be drilling into a wood stud. And because the holes are here, there won't be another stud till over here. If I were installing it as a contractor, I would use a piece of plywood, put the plywood first mounted to 2 studs, then screw this to the plywood, and that way you don't have to worry about trying to do this kind of stuff, because this will work, but eventually it's going to come loose from the drywall because this thing is going to get a lot of tugging on it, and I just think that might be a better way to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing with big heavy cables like this. At some point, somebody's going to want to push it, they're going to want to stretch it, they're going to want to see if they can get a little bit
I'm guilty
further.
of that. I've done it before.
But we always mount it really well, so you're just going to be tugging and be like, okay, that's it. As opposed to, oh, I think there's a little more, as this thing gets yanked off the wall and falls to the floor.
So one of the things I really like about this is that it is Wi-Fi compatible, so you can use it with an app. It comes with the PulseQ app, and although the app isn't fancy, it does do a bunch of cool things. Number one, it lets you schedule your charge. So if you have something like an old Leaf that doesn't let you do scheduled charging, if you have, let's say, tiered charging rates, so at night it gets cheaper in your area, then you could schedule this to start charging at like 10 p.m. and stop charging at 5 a.m. or something like that, so you get, save some money. So you can set your gas and electricity rates in your area, so then it can do some simple calculations, so it can tell you how much you did save versus if you drove a gas vehicle. So this is what Tesla apps already do, but again, if you have a car like a Leaf that doesn't tell you this, it might be nice to say like, oh wow, this month I saved 80 bucks. And lastly, you can set different vehicles. So in the app, you can say like, now I'm charging my Leaf, and it can tell you how much range you've put in, so you can be watching from your bedroom and be like, oh good, I'm up to the range I need.
Right, and that's good for older EVs that don't have either app connectivity or any way of telling you how much they've charged. It gives you not necessarily a super smart integration with the car, but it at least lets the charger know how much energy is put into the vehicle, and it'll tell you that.
There is a stop button on the side. I do not know really why you'd use that.
If you want to stop the charging.
Sure, but also you can just do that.
Right. If you see the form factor, this case is identical to the Max speeding rods. I bet there's a whole bunch of other ones where this is the exact same case, and it has a spot for a button, and the button probably comes with it, and so it has to do something, so they had it be the stop button. I think that's fine.
You're not going to use it.
If you had a bolt and the bolt was on fire?
I just think it's another entry point for water. I do want to say it's NEMA Type 4 waterproof, so I mean it looks like a very waterproof thing, so if you do want to mount it outside, you can. It has overload, underload, overtemp, short circuit, ground protection, lightning protection, and earth leakage protection, which is pretty standard for UL certified, which this is. I've seen it on the interwebs for about $369. I just want you to go back a couple of years in the time machine here. There used to be only a couple brands to choose from, like the big Bosch and maybe the Clipper Creek. Now we have all these choices, and they're a few $100s cheaper. So if you need a simple charger that's going to get mounted to your wall, kind of set and forget, this isn't a bad choice.
And another advantage is it can sort of function like a mobile charger because, again, with these thumb screws in your garage, you'd simply loosen the thumb screws, take it up off of this easy to mount plate, and then if you need an emergency charger, if you need a level 2 charger and your car's one either broke or you needed another one, you could take this with you.
You could, except that you would have to have a bunch of adapters for this because, although this is fairly common, 1450 NEMA, it's not super common, so yeah, I don't know. I would disagree with you on that, but you could do it. And lastly, if you will watch till the end, good for you, because we're giving this one away. So the way to win it is to go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/nowyouknow. For as little as $1 a month, you can join, get to see all of our Patreon bonus stories, and then we're gonna put this up on there and probably in the next few weeks, and you'll have a pretty good chance of winning it.
So thank you so much for watching this episode where we reviewed the TOPDON PulseQ EV Charger. This is available on the internet. You can go find it if you like. Yeah,
we should have a link down below to it as well. And let us know in the comments questions you have about it, other things you'd like us to review, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's how we grow as a channel, so we can keep bringing you all this great stuff and giving a lot of it away to you.
Thank you so much for watching. Now let's review.